Nick Walker, 1 week out. All joking aside, guys, look at the fullness. This guy is a freak. Look at the chest, look at the arms, look at those triceps. It almost looks like it's photoshopped. I know it's not because Nick isn't that kind of guy. I'm not a fan of Nick Walker's physique, I'll say that. But you have to take into consideration the density and the size that Nick has added. Look at the rear arm, how thick it is. Nick Walker is a freak. And I honestly believe, and I'm going to say this on a whim, that the density that he's added, look at his back. I think that Nick Walker, this new improved Nick Walker, beats Samson Dowder. I do. And I love Samson. Samson's got one of my favorite physiques. But Nick is more dense. He's got a completely different physique than Samson. But there are some poses where Nick blows Samson out of the water. Look at Samson's arms from the back. Samson does not have arms like this. Peaks on the biceps, sweeps on the tricep, the density through the back. Nick Walker from the back destroys Samson. And I honestly think if he beats Derek Lunsford, which I think this new version will, then he has to be the favorite for the Olympia. This is why this show is going to be the greatest show of the year. I read the comment section and I see a lot of you don't like Nick. But look at this. Look at the density. Look at the arms. Look at the shoulders. Look at the fullness on the chest. I'm not really a fan of the legs, but he's got world-class legs. I know they're quite short, but the muscularity in his legs, especially from the side. I mean, who touches Nick from the side? Nobody. And this is why it's going to be so interesting comparing him to someone like Martin. Martin has the better lines. Martin has the better structure, but he doesn't have the size and the freakiness that the mutant does. And this is why I think this newfound Nick Walker will blow Martin out the water. Look, Martin is excellent from the back. His hamstrings, those Branch Warren-esque hamstrings. His back, I think his back is probably slightly better. I like the shape of it more than Nick's. But Nick has the freak factor. Nick is just denser. He doesn't really have, if you notice with Nick, he doesn't really have a weak pose. People are so quick to criticize his midsection. But the guy is huge. What do you expect? The bigger the guy, usually the bigger the waist. And nobody touches Nick in the hands class most muscular. And I guarantee you now, this version that we see in just over a week's time will destroy any version of Nick. Nick is a warrior. How he trains, his mindset. Nick can beat anyone on his day. That is the only reason I think he won't win the Olympia, because it is a mainstream sport. And I believe the judges want the sport to become more mainstream. And I just don't believe how it can when Nick has these ugly asparagus veins on his legs. But what do you think? Do you think that Nick, you can't deny, even I know a lot of you don't like his shape, and I'm not a fan, but you cannot deny that Nick Walker is an absolute freak. And this is bodybuilding. It's not men's physique. It's not classic physique. This is where we see the freaks. It's not bodybuilding from the 70s, guys. This is where, and that's why Nick Walker is so popular, because people want to see the freak. Tell me what you think. I want to know, do you think he's going to beat Martin and Derek? And also, do you think he can beat Samson? Let me know your thoughts.